Hello and welcome to the Call of Duty Vista. Today we have got two owners of 22 esports, Carl and Buff. How we doing?
How's things? All good?
We're living the dream, mate. Happy Monday. Recorded day is Monday today. Who's got the
Mother's
Monday
Day was
vibe?
yesterday.
Sorry, mate?
Lovely Mother's Day yesterday.
Yeah?
Yep.
Get up to anything special?
Went on a walk in the rain, mate. So
Oh, I've seen that. Tragic.
fuming, mate. Fuming. Absolutely fuming.
It's all about the quality time you spend together, right?
Yeah, something like that, mate.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So I guess first things first, you had a little announcement last week, right? You've now got two Challengers rosters.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about the thought process behind that and I guess the goals that each team has?
Well, I guess there wasn't really a thought process in the decision in terms of us anyway. Obviously, Zappy and Krull, wanted to, I guess, experiment or try something different. And I think on the other hand, Powerhouse and Luto, although they're gutted and whatnot that the team's broken up, I know all four of them are, but I think they're taking this opportunity as something to they can now pursue the role that they, I guess, desire that they want to be, instead of I think at the time they were having to do a role for the team instead of what they really wanted to do. I think now they've got the freedom to go and do that, and it's going to be interesting. We've seen some of the scrims so far, and there's been some good score lines in there, so it's going to be it's not, yeah, I think Deeks touched on it in the pit. It's not going to be like a team A and a team B. It's very much so two teams. You go out, you show us what you can do, and I think it's going to be a very exciting future for both teams, and interesting to see how they get on.
And I think to add to that, every team has a ceiling, and every team has a goal or an aim in mind. And I think after the Katana event, I think not only us as owners realised, but the players themselves realised, I think, that the ceiling was hit. So obviously a change was needed, and you just look at the previous 2K, and I mean, yeah, some of the results are outstanding. I think we took was it Team Omit to a map 5, or they're a top 6 challenger team. So the results are already proven, and obviously Brandon's having a nice break now over in Amsterdam. So hopefully he comes back refreshed and we start to see him fry again, because that guy is just a joke.
Yeah.
I've known Brandon for years, and to see him flourish as he is now is just you always knew he had it in him, but you weren't sure if he was ever going to take the chance with 2 hands, and he's taken it with 2 hands, and he's proven everyone that he can do it, and he can.
Yeah.
Do you think that both rosters stay as they are for the year? Do you think the core 4 at the start of the year, they somewhat partially rekindle deeper into the year?
I don't know. I mean, I think, I don't know about Josh and Lewis 100%, but I'm pretty sure Lampy and Vega are pretty much that solid 4 now. But like I said, both teams are going well. Their scrims are looking good so far. Obviously in the 2K, Zappy and that have had a great 2K. So I wouldn't be surprised if things maybe panned out and something came about where they dabbled in rekindling, but there's no plans for that, I don't think, for any of them at the minute.
I mean, you never know in this space. You're always
well, exactly.
You're one map away, it seems, from a possible roster change. You never know.
Yeah.
But if this is a question I wanted to ask, is that if in some world I've heard that at the end, this might be Powerhouse's last year competing, I've heard that Zappy, Kid Ceiling, you've got no idea. The same with Cruel, he's looking superb. If there's a world where all 4 players somehow find themselves in different rosters outside of 22 or end up stop competing, will 22 still stay in Call of Duty Challengers, or do you think you're just invested in it due to the 4 players you had at the start of the year?
Oh no, I think we're definitely invested past the players. Not obviously not saying that they're not
Yeah.
No,
you
of
know, part
course.
of 22 or anything like that. You know, they've done 22 absolute wonders. We were having the discussion the other day about how, you know, much more that they've brought to the table than we ever expected them to. You know, we're forever grateful for, especially, you know, Brandon and Lewis. They've done so much for us. But you know, at the end of the day, we are an organisation that that have a hobby in, you know, COD. So regardless of what they decide to do, and we always want what's best for them. You know, if there's an org out there that reach out to them and, you know, want them, and it's, you know, you would never turn it down. We're not going to say, oh no, don't go, because if you go, you know, we probably won't compete in challenges. We're going to push them to go because we want them to hit that top level,
Yeah.
and get as far as they can. And you know, we'll just have to deal with, you know, what happens after that, and we'll, you know, take it as we go.
I think to add on to that, I think every organisation wants to be part of that challenges. Every organisation wants to be part of the elite, and obviously we've had a bit of it, like we've had a taste of it now.
Yeah.
So for those 4 players, that if they were to leave and us just sack it off, just wouldn't sit right with us as owners. Like we want to keep progressing. We want to, eventually maybe hit champs at the end of the year, or you know, we've had a little taste. We don't want to stop now, effectively.
No. I thought as much, but I thought I'd ask the question.
I love it. I love it. And like you touched on it there, like as owners, like how many of you are there in total? Like have like a stake in?
So, well, I guess me and Deeks are founders, really, but there's me, Deeks, Carl, Ethan, and an A. But we all have. There's no hierarchy. There's no he has more say than this. It's everybody has the same amount of say in anything, and the majority wins at the end of the day. It's always been the case, and I think it's always going to be the case. There's no, oh well, I've been here longer, so I have more say. We're very fair. Everybody, I think the way I see it anyway, the more people you have, almost the better outcome you have in decisions, because everybody has a different way of viewing things, and you'll always come to the majority anyway. So I think it works in our favor having, you know, 6 of us, whatever there is, part of it. And we've got some great minds in there. So
How does that work though? If there's so obviously like there was 5 before when I was there, so like the majority decision, like it's always a 3-2. What happens if
yeah,
the decision goes 3-3? Have you had that yet? What's the tiebreaker?
we actually haven't had that yet, and I'm surprised. I raised it, I think, when Ethan came in. I said, you know, now we're even numbers, so if something does go even, we're kind of screwed and we don't know what to do. But we haven't had that yet, so hopefully it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously from my perspective, it's a really weird dynamic, right? Because like for me, it's just as much as I speak to other people and ask for their opinions, right? It comes down to like my decision. And
Yeah.
I think I'm comfortable with it in the sense that I know if the decision is wrong, it's fine because it's my fault. Like,
Yeah.
how do you get over that? Do you ever have like that animosity where you've tried to make a decision, you've been outvoted, and then like, does it stick around? Like, is there any bad blood, or is it just like swept under the table?
I don't
Go on,
think
you
so.
go, you go.
As long as I've been in anywhere, I've been in now like 4 or 5 months or so. Like we all get it, you know what I mean? We all play the game. We're all in the scene together. It's not as if like someone is completely out the scene and has a completely different opinion. Like we're all in it together, sort of thing. So I feel like if there's ever a bit of animosity, we'll always put pros and cons forward to try and get the best outcome. Because at the end of the day, we want the best of 22.
Yeah.
And if someone in that group or someone who is an owner doesn't want the best of 22, then obviously what's the point of being a part of it? You know, it's a family, it's a home sort of vibe. You know what I mean? Like there's not many financial decisions where we're like, let's not do that, or like we're in it together sort of thing. So as long as I've been in, there's been no animosity, and I don't think the 6 that are owners have that in them to be that type of person anyway.
No, I think, well, especially me and Deeks, because we've known each other the longest. Me and Deeks never ever agree on anything, ever. Whatever one says, the other person always disagrees. But I love that, because sometimes you really don't see the other side of like the story or the other somebody else's opinion. And when because me and Sean always disagree, and we're very both of us are very stubborn people. It's I like being able to have someone like Sean say, no, you're wrong. I really think that this is the way it should go, and then it opens your eyes and think, oh, okay, maybe you are right. Okay, I can see that. But we've not. Me and Sean disagree on everything, but we've not. There's no grudges to be held. We're in this together. We've been in it for a long run, so. But I as a group, I guess, as you would know, Jack, the financial side of things is immense with COD. It's
Yeah.
such a massive struggle, really, and having all these owners, it really helps to divide it up, and you don't have to. It's not such a burden to put on just one person, I guess, really. But yeah.
Yeah, interesting. And like, when it comes to decisions for like financial outlay, right? How does that thought process and decision process go? So, like, for example, like, we all know how expensive Boston was, right? How do you make the decision to help support the guys to go out there when obviously it is a big financial? That still it goes to a vote, or we all just like, we want to get the lads out there. This is a great opportunity. Like,
well, everything goes for a vote. And if there's somebody that really doesn't want to be a part of that financial decision and thinks it's, bad for us, then we'll take that into consideration and say, okay, well, you really don't want this to happen, but the majority choice is it's going to happen, but you don't have to pay your share. You can sit out of this one or whatever it is. But we've never had that yet. Thankfully. I'm sure if it does come about, we're all grown men, we're all adults about it. We're not kids. We'll deal with it as it comes. And but yeah, it's a lot easier, I think, with
But
having all those people.
it's like me personally. I know like our aims is to go to Toronto with it being an open event. I know personally it's around May time, which for me as a teacher like is like so hard to get time off during May. So
Yeah.
I know personally that I won't be traveling to Toronto, but I know fine well that I'll be paying my share for the boys to go and whatever outcomes that is, just because I know the opportunities. The opportunity to travel to another country to play Call of Duty is like immense. You know what I mean? So like I would happily pay my way as part of a 22 owner for the boys to get that opportunity, because that's what it's all about, especially us like amateur organizations. It's all about giving people the chances that we didn't really have.
Yeah.
Like, so it would be like jealous of me not to give that back.
Yeah.
So
Like we're never going to be able to be at that level to compete
no.
at Boston or Toronto or wherever it is. So why would we, restrict other people from doing that? We don't want to do that. That's the complete opposite of what we're about. So, but yeah.
Wait, and I guess last question for me on I guess the business side of things. Like, how do you guys operate? Is like, are you like a registered company? Are you just like helping the boys out and like doing it individually, sort of thing? Like, how does that?
So the clothing line is a registered company, which is separated from the esports. Unfortunately, the clothing line isn't up and running yet, as much to
So-
loads of people's disappointment.
That was another question I had.
Yeah. It's almost there. There's just been so many setbacks and whatnot, but yeah, that the clothing line is a registered company, but the COD org isn't. It is just, I guess, what you see on social media. There's no, I guess, legal bindings or anything like that. There's still, oh God, how many of us are there now? I think it's still 7 owners that are part of the clothing line. And obviously Ethan and Carl are just with the COD org at the minute. But yeah, we're not a registered company yet as an esports organization, but I'm sure if things keep progressing, it won't be long, or it's something that we aspire to do down the line.
Sweet. I mean, the reason I ask is because like we are, but I've had the company for like years before we opened up the esports branch, and like I guess anyone listening, if you are going to start an esports team, I'd recommend you do set up a company, not just from like the ownership point of view, but also like you can get some benefits back. For example, say the team does do really well and starts winning prize money, that prize money going into the org bank account. One, it's easier because then you can spend that money directly. But two, if you end up, you can also register for VAT, and that essentially gives you a 20% cash back on, or like 17% cash back on whatever you spend.
Everything basically in esports,
especially in the UK, right? So like the Middlesborough event, like I don't know how many hotel rooms you guys end up getting, but like
don't even.
we had two, and like even that, it's like 50, 60 quid we can claim back from HMRC.
Yeah,
and like it's minimal effort in terms of returns. But happily chat about that after if you want to.
Our hotel situation at Middlesbrough was an absolute nightmare. Oh my god, we had a hotel, one big like I guess complex booked that had I think 4 or 5 different apartments in, right, that slept. And it was like 15 of us that was going in total, right? So we're all going to be in the same kind of complex. And then was it like 3 or 4 days before we got there?
Yeah,
we got an email.
The Monday before the event.
Yeah, we got an email saying that the boiler had burst, and that we wouldn't be able to stay there anymore. So we're like, oh Jesus Christ! Like, what do we do now? We've got 15 people that that need a place to stay. We're not gonna cancel the event. Like, what do we do? But thankfully, NA pushed through, and we ended up booking, and it was decent to be fair where we stayed.
It was all right.
It was we just booked out 3 apartments that were. It was kind of a similar thing, one whole complex, and we booked 3 separate apartments, and it was good. There were big areas and nothing to complain about. But yeah, it was almost an absolute disaster.
The panic stations. I bet that Discord call was.
It was rough.
I love it. Were you going to say something, Nico?
No, I'm trying not to go on a tangent with like all the bad Airbnbs I saw from Middlesbrough. To be honest, I just know I'm staying in the Travelodge again next time.
To be fair, we brought a dartboard with us, so we were sorted. Like, so we were chucking a couple arrows every night.
Yeah, I think the Travelodge is a vibe. I'm doing a cop and booking it in advance this time rather than leaving it to like 3 days before because that's.
I'm like trying to work out the date in the schedule. Like once they give me like a rough month-ish, like another company has, I know like they have to go with like between the COD schedule, and there's not many weekends. So like I'm just full sending a hotel when I can figure it out.
Yeah, 100%. It's got to be done.
So much cheaper. It's ridiculous.
I generally think we could have probably got 6 hotel rooms at the price that you paid compared to what we paid.
Ours wasn't horrendous, but again, we split it between us anyway, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, I think just because if I go away now, I don't want to be sharing a room or like a bed with anyone. Like that is just not my vibe. Like,
me and Ethan had a good cuddle on the Saturday.
Yeah,
that's what I'm worried about now. I don't want to like come back after I've had a few drinks and end up cuddling cop or something. That's just.
I'd welcome it. Yeah, we done all right in Boston, didn't we? Share a room, but I mean, that's maybe not a bed.
Yeah, the room's sweet. Yeah, like 2 double beds, like fine. Like,
yeah,
I just
Nah, it brings you close together. I love that kind of stuff.
I'm not sure I like the family vibe as much as you guys do. Oh, amazing. I think one thing I would love to touch on is your elite debut this season in Call of Duty. Obviously, lots of controversy surrounding it, but you can only beat what's in front of you, right? And the way that it worked, you just got to take advantage of it.
Yeah. And the boys knew that. The boys knew it was going to be a tough ride going into that. You're playing the best teams in Europe. No game's going to be easy or a walkover. But we made sure the boys were prepared for that, and they weren't gonna lose full or just throw toys at the pram when things didn't go their way, because at the end of the day, it's going to be a learning curve for them. They knew that, and they've gained a lot of experience from that. You know, they were lucky to get into that position, right? But we're not gonna sit here and say, oh, they fully deserve to be there, and whatnot. But with the work that they've put in, you know, sometimes you earn your luck, and you know, I guess that's what they've done.
And like, we were happy to play a playoff game. Like,
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that we just took it and ran. Like, that's not the case. We offered a playoff game because we thought, like, competitive integrity, that's the right way. But you can't tell me not nearly every other team would have done what we did in this situation. Like,
Every single person would have. It's
Exactly.
£1,000 and
like
£2.5k
you get,
pro
you-
points.
yeah, you're getting a chance to play in the elites, bit. Like, it doesn't come round often, you know what I mean? But like, we took it with both hands, but we did also offer an alternative. But face it, just did what they did.
I mean, well, what can people say? I mean, if we didn't have
Exactly.
racists and hackers in the scene, then it wouldn't have happened. Blame them.
Yeah,
Don't blame the person that.
the game's a game, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
right. You deserve this. I mean, you deserve the spot. No one else can tell me otherwise. If not, you're going to give it to someone that's been hacking for the entire year, or someone that's an avid racist. Like,
exactly.
give her head the wobble. Everyone would have took the opportunity. Like, there's no question about it. I wouldn't have even played a playoff game. I say it with chest. I would have denied playing a playoff game, and I said, "Give me my £1,000 and my pro points. Thank you very much, lads." Did you enjoy being in it? Like,
Yeah.
how much? Yeah, because like that's a completely new dynamic from you, right? Like the org's gone from being casted in XP League to all of a sudden being casted by Ton and Bryce on the Challenger
Yeah.
stream. Like, how did that feel?
Well, I was at my girlfriend's place, and I was playing on the TV, and I'm sat there saying to her, like, "Look, we're on the big screen. This is nuts. We've come from the Sheffield LAN event to this. Like, what on earth is going on?" Like, I was taking pictures of the TV, taking screenshots. Like, it was a surreal moment, and we kept saying in our chat, we're like, "How on earth have we ended up here? Like, what a sort of journey we've been on in you know, a short amount of time that we've been going." It's a weird story, really, but it's a hobby, and you know, we love every minute of it. So
Did it make you hungrier?
yeah, I think so. I think, especially with, for me anyway, especially with the, I guess, the hate that we got with getting into the elite, it kind of made it put like a fire in my belly of, okay, right,
Yeah.
well, next time I want to get in there and nobody question how we got there. I want to be able to say we got there and we earned every single, you know, victory, every map, everything. We earned everything to get there. So I think, you know, it definitely did make me hungry anyway. And I think the same with the boys.
And the results were what they were, but like, how often you're going to get the chance to play against them elite players or that caliber of players, like, for at least for even 1 week? Like, even to scrim them's hard enough, or schedule a scrims hard enough. So if you get to play a best of 5 saves against them, they took so much from that. Like,
Oh,
it's
100%.
beyond the joke. Like, how much they would have taken from it, and like, obviously the financial side and the pro point side is also a nice added bonus. But yeah, like, it definitely makes you want to be in it again. 100%.
We spoke to Zappy, was it just after or just before? But he essentially said the same thing, right? It's like, we don't get to scrim against these teams, and at least we get to play them in a competitive environment, and they're not going to leave anything on the table because they don't even want to give you half a chance to, like, and it will tell you where you're at, right? Like, you might be like top 16, top 12, but then actually being in the elite, you can see the differences between your team and the other teams.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
Thanks, mate.
Oh, I love that. Jack was like, "This isn't usual. What's going on?"
Nah, it is a nail on the head, though. To be fair, like,
Yeah.
there's not much that needs more to be said. Like, that just is what it is.
To be fair, I think you've just had a good start to the year in general. Like, I know the roster's split in half now, but like, what, you go to Boston, like, boys had a good placement. We saw them when we were out there. They looked really good as well. Like,
yeah.
What was what was the goal getting the boys out there, and then, like, what were you happy with the end result?
Well, originally we weren't gonna do Boston this year. We were just gonna we told the boys that we're just going to
Toronto.
focus on Toronto, and any other local lands that came up, and but the boys, Josh especially, really wanted to go, and we weren't going to say, well, all right, we're not going to represent, you're not going to represent us or whatnot. Well, we fully back the boys, so we were more than happy for them to go. It just, I guess the only change was they knew that we weren't going to fully financially fund their trip, because we weren't prepared for that that early on. But hats off to the boys for wanting to go that early on as well. So
I mean, it is like proper expensive, right? Like it's
Yeah.
Yeah, to sure.
even if you just do flights, like 4 flights, is still like $2,000.
yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, and then you've got this whole malarkey with Miami now, how late it's been, and what a joke that's been.
Yeah,
You,
I
you
mean,
can't be running an event 5 weeks before it's meant to be, like, or even
What-
getting it out there. It's just a joke, really.
I mean,
it was free, wasn't it? It's
3
like,
weeks, is it?
I think like from my perspective, yeah, if we knew Miami was going to happen, we would have like provided less support for Boston and Toronto, and then like sorted it out early so we're not paying ridiculous prices.
Yeah.
But when it came down to it, like the reality is, I said to the boys, like, from our perspective, right, like we should be finishing. Well, that roster should have been finishing like top 6 minimum in the elite, we think, and the boys thought that as well. When that result happened, then like I think we did pretty poor in the cup after that. I was like, boys, I just can't do it. Like I can't
Hmm. It's
find the
unviable.
it's hard enough to find the money anyway, but I could have done if it was like we knew something was coming back from the elite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, isn't it? Especially for Europe. Like if it was like we're gonna do 32 team LAN in America, 32 team in Europe, wouldn't have even batted an eyelid. I'm sure like most orgs in Europe would be like, sweet, let's get out to Madrid. It's not going to cost us anywhere near as much money as it is
Yeah.
to get to the States, or at least like partially fund it, right?
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous top to bottom. Like even some of the NA teams, like I'm seeing NA players that are like struggling to get there and stuff. Like
I wouldn't be surprised if it's applied to, like, I don't know, maybe try and push away from EU. I don't know, like, obviously they must know that for us here in EU, that to get a flight to across the country, by the way, on 3 weeks' notice is like ridiculous amount of money,
Yeah.
like not fathomable amounts of money, unless you are top of the top, as in like your Team War or someone like that.
But even Team War, I don't think they're getting.
Yeah, like I don't think
much
any EU
funding.
teams go, or if any at all. Like,
I think Omit are going, but they like we love the guys at Omit, right? But they've got quite a lot of backing now because they've had like 3 teams merge.
yeah.
oh, have you seen that as well today? They've had some unfortunate news for that.
Yeah, didn't one of their rosters like?
I think the main team split. I know one of them did. I think it's the Brooklyn one, but don't hold me to that. But yeah,
And Brooklyn's there. Oh shit!
yeah, and see, like I think Rafi tweeted out about like Airbnb. Like obviously it's booked, it's paid for. I'm assuming, so it's like it's there. It like I'm guessing you can't refund it. Like if a team wants it, like for cheap, please let me know. So it's like it's just chaos. It's it is just absurd. Like this is the problem around the elite and the, like roster mania. 3 weeks notice, like can't build it into budgets. I don't know. It would have, to me, it would have been better from like lovely thing for trying to put it on, but like I just wish you didn't, to be honest, because this is not their fault, probably the league's fault. Like the amount of approval times they've had to wait for, but it's just shambolic. Like it's a joke, to be honest. It's the last thing we needed this year was something like this to happen.
Yeah. I think you're right.
I think they probably left it too late to start looking, and then after that, the amount of pressure they got from the community, that's probably why they felt like they had to put something on. But I'm happy that they did, in the sense that it's good for challengers to get another event.
Yeah,
I just wish it was handled differently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's ideal for those
hard.
NA teams, though, isn't it? Like, it's a 2-hour
And
flight, or it's like on your doorstep. But like,
I've-
the Call of Duty's bigger than NA. You know
it's
what I
still
mean?
Miami. It's completely on the coast, right? So like for a
Spring
lot of
break
people,
happening at the same time as well, isn't it?
yeah, and that's like around. Well, I think it might be the week before, the week. I think it might be the week after. I'm not too sure. Or like the week after is like Easter for us. If flights are really expensive, but yeah, it's within that period, and it's like, what are we doing here? Like, there's no logic to any of this. I feel like you said, that they just wanted to put something on for the community because like the negative feedback they got for not putting one on. But it's like realistically, you need like a year run time for an event. Even like just for the venue, like they found the issues with like venues get booked a year ahead for like all major events. It's like you're scrambling around to find one with like 2 months notice. Like this was always going to happen, and then they've delayed. I think they delayed the announcement like 5 times as well, which apparently was the league's fault. But I don't know. Great that some of the players can go and play, but then I just feel so bad for the players that can't get out there and
Yeah.
are getting absolutely roughed up from the pro point system because like so many teams just trying to get out there to get pro points, and like for some it's not physically possible. So
Well,
maybe
yeah,
the 2K after Miami's going to be fun because there might be some mixed up seedings. So
yeah. Well, I know Vega, who's now just joined us, is going out and he's finding or he's trying to get out and trying to find a team of 3 just to, not to split from the boys, but just to get those added pro
Pro
points and
points.
help the team out. Yeah. So like all credit
Isn't
for
he's
that.
got a roster locked in, hasn't he?
I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% sure. I've been
I
away.
think he's with the Inglorious lads.
Is
Okay.
he?
I think so. Unless I'm tweaking. I might have made assumptions. I assumed, maybe I've assumed this, but I saw he tweeted out, right, he's going Miami, and I know that Avo's roster was LF1. And I mean, there's not many holes right now, is there, to
Yeah.
get your way on a Miami team. So I made an assumption. Captain Avo, mate. Apologies if I've leaked it, but firm it.
I think you've got a good one on your hands there as well. Like what we've seen of
Oh.
Vega, he's discussing.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
incredible.
We've had like those roster changes. So I know we're jumping back a little bit, but did the boys come to you with the roster that they wanted to play with? Or was it like, did you guys have an involvement in picking it?
No, it
No,
was
it's all them,
completely
really.
them, all them. I think they made the decision pretty quick of who they wanted to get, and
I don't think it's right for us owners either to really pick who
No.
to play with. Like, obviously, personalities match and play styles match, and if the best people to ask for that are the 2 people that's going to be playing with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no point us owners getting involved in a team that we have no control of in terms of in-game play. So, and I mean, the way Brandon and Steve have been playing this year, it's probably best to take their advice of who they want.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, right? Because like we try and be, well, I try and be involved in the sense that like I like to know what's going on, and at the same time I want to be able to veto people if I don't think they're a good fit for the brand. But like obviously some orgs have like Call of Duty managers where they get players in and out, but that's more of an NA thing. And then other teams have got like a really good coaching staff where they're like, oh, we could probably get these people in, whereas we don't have that. So it's like,
No.
I think one name I mentioned to Brandon when obviously I heard they were going LF2 was maybe Smudge. I thought
Yeah.
he had an incredible Middlesbrough event, but supposedly I don't think he wanted to play Respawn anymore. I think he wanted to stick to S&D, which is crazy because you seen how cracked how cracked the lad was at Borough. Like he was off his head. I thought he was unbelievable.
I think it's just a wise head on young shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, I was chatting about this last night on stream, and they're like, he's making decent money from wages and stuff. Like, doing
Yeah, like,
really
why
well in
would
the
you
S&D
change?
scene. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and this is the reality of it. This is like, we've been in this system since like Cold War. People were stepping away, and now like very few are stepping in. And I think we're seeing it this year with like the skill gap in between like top 8s, top 16s, and then like your top 32s. Like, I don't know. It's not very lucrative, is it, right now for brands, players, really anyone involved. So I think he's a clever man for an 18-year-old. I think he's got it figured out. Fair play to him.
Yeah, agreed. And on, I guess, land, the other one, and it's the first time I came across you guys, was at the Hague LAN in the Netherlands last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first time some of you met up as well, right?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
was
Most of us, to be fair.
most of us
Yeah.
met up. Me and Jack met up before at Sheffield, and Owen, who's one of the clothing line owners, but he's been a friend of mine IRL for years. But apart from that, I think it was the first time most of us met up. And what a place to do it in Amsterdam. So
There was one thing I wanted to touch on, which it pops up in my head every time I think of Carl, and that's Carl going one-man army against the French.
Oh man, I am rent free in that whole country's head. I have to be. I actually have to be. Mate, just don't cheat against me. Like, don't break your ears. Like, I went upstairs. One of them had a fire trigger pistol on, and then they thought I put the fire trigger pistol on their gun. And I was like, yeah, mate, I don't even know what you're waffling right now. Like, so, there was one of me and 6 Frenchies, mate. It just wasn't a good ratio, but somehow I came out with a dub. Like, just is what it is.
didn't the police get called on them after?
Yeah, so they couldn't.
Yeah.
They were told to leave the event, and they were calling the owner racist and all that. And like, you'll know, Jack, like the owner of that was lovely. Like,
Yeah,
she was class. Like, they were calling her racist and all that stuff, and she got really upset. And so they called the police, and they weren't wanting to leave. I think they were wanting to knock my head off, to be fair. And they got valid reasons, to be fair. But yeah, they weren't leaving. Then the police got called, and yeah, they were out the way. But I heard they were circling around for like 20 minutes or something. But
Waiting for you.
yeah, I wasn't going outside, mate. I was getting Ethan to get me McDonald's for us and all that. I weren't leaving the venue. God knows what could have happened.
Only fun one.
It was fun, to be fair. Like, when you deep it, mate, like, there's no way I should have won that situation, but I have.
That's collar.
In terms of lands, like, where is the ideal LAN in Europe for 22 to go to for a meetup and a LAN at the same time? Obviously, Middlesbrough's probably top of most people's list. So.
Well, I don't know really. Anywhere's far away from me, so if there's one that pops up in Cornwall, then I'm more than happy for everybody to go to that. But I think we want one in London. To be fair, that'd be nice. But whether that will happen,
I quite liked Amsterdam. I thought everything was quite cheap. Like, transport and all that was cheap. Like, obviously Amsterdam being Amsterdam, it's quite vibey anyway. So, or get me to Barcelona or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's get a little Spanish one going.
I love
If
that.
there's an EU lad's going to be at everyone this year. Like, what's the plan? Are
We'd like to
locals
think
the
so,
goal?
yeah.
We plan to be at every the next Katana one. If they do 2 more this year, 3 more this year, we plan to be at every one. If there's say an Amsterdam one going on, there's not a LAN close to it, then we might aim to go to that as well, or whatever there is. But we're going to try and go to as many LANs as possible, because I think we're all friends online, but having to being able to meet up in person is like, it's a whole different experience in itself, and it's like what brings you that community so close together. And we're lucky with 22 that we have got quite a decent size community behind us, where when we went to Middlesbrough, there's 5 or 6 fans, I guess you could call them, that want to come with us just to support, be with us, hang around with us and whatnot. And we're lucky to have that, and we're grateful for them. So LANs for us is a big thing for us.
Good. So I love it. I can't wait to get more.
Maybe throw an XP LAN in there as well, and we'll see what happens or something like that.
Carl, why are you
Come on,
teasing me?
Intel, Carl.
You teased me like 3 months ago with it.
That's probably a separate podcast, but it's as close as it's ever been. I can say that much, and that's all I'll say on it. I'll hit the DMs later, copy, but yeah.
Jesus Christ, these DMs are starting to get a bit busy recently. Oh, what's going on? I'm down for it, mate. Send it my way. Oh, God.
Cop's getting all the intel, mate.
If I speak, I'm in big trouble. But the next couple of months are stacked. Wait, oh fuck, you won't even answer me, will I? Oh well. How soon is a possible LAN event are we talking for XP?
We want to run a test, like a tester one on this game, but our big one will be on early next game, we hope.
Okay.
Ooh.
So we might have a XP one this year.
Fingers crossed, all things going well.
Percentage wise, what are you giving me? What's the likelihood?
I'll give you a strong 70.
Okay. I'll come up
Ooh.
with that. Right, we're going to start booking hotels.
Yeah. Just give us the intel early so we can get some cheap hotels. booked,
Yeah, I'll sort you as a deal out. Yeah.
Oh,
But on that, I think that's another thing that I think goes without saying is, the XP League and say Katana for putting on these UK LANs are such a blessing for us. Like we said, getting over to America is such a struggle financially and whatnot that without these guys hosting these LANs, where would we be? We'd just be playing online tournaments still, and the odd LAN event here and there. So all credit to these guys for putting these events on. I think you guys seen as well at Borough the amount of work that went into that Katana LAN, the amount of work, constant work that those admins were doing, and the staff and Heffy, and I couldn't imagine like doing something like that. It's crazy.
I reckon Heavy probably lost like 4 years of his life. The amount of stress he went through.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was involved in like some of the early sort of planning of that Katana event, and then obviously I stepped away from Katana to join sort of 22 and XP. And all you have to say is like props to them. To be fair, like although the scheduling issues had its there's always going to be some hiccups for LAN. It
Yeah.
just is what it is. Like unless you're the CDL or you're pumping loads of like hundreds of thousands into events, like there will be hiccups. But for what they did, like fair play to them. You know what I mean? I think everyone came away from the event having only one qualm, which was the scheduling.
Yeah.
Like, and I think if you sort that out for the next event, like it should run so smooth. Like I've gave some stuff to Ryan to potentially help with next event, but yeah,
I think that happens at every PC LAN event though.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it just is what it is. Like I don't know if you know, but that COD agent event that was on at the same time, they got IP banned.
Yeah.
So like it does happen, and it shows that Katana did actually like the right steps to make sure that nothing like that did happen.
I think as well, like if the only qualm that people have is scheduling and like how far the event overran, then like you've run a fantastic event because like when we were at the Apex LAN in like June last year, that ran about 3 or 4 hours behind schedule, and that's like you've got esports engine who are like fantastic, incredible company, but like sometimes you just can't help it.
Yeah, you're always gonna have that problem. Always.
And obviously with you boys winning it as well, like I seen your tweet, Jack, about Hef paying out straight away, like small things like that, like because normally you say if you win an event you're waiting like 2-3 weeks, you got it within a day
And
or
the
two.
rest.
Yeah, exactly. Like it can take a while.
I mean,
So
I literally sent him the bank details within 10 minutes. He's like, "Sweet mate, it's on the way," and then like a couple of minutes later, it hit my account. Like,
yeah.
I mean, most of it went straight back out, but like, it's
Nah, like but that's what you want though, like knowing that your money's safe and like knowing that you'll be paid out straight away. Because I mean, there has been instances before where stuff like that has gone amiss, and but
Oh no! Don't touch on that.
no.
Jesus.
Just got to hope we don't get another knobhead like Prezi in the soon.
Yeah. I wonder where he is. Sometimes I sit there and wonder, where is that man? What is he doing right now?
Dominoes or something.
Oh, what
amazing.
event that was. Oh.
Well, lads, thank you so much. Like, we were going to try and keep this one to 45 minutes. I think we've done a pretty good job. But is there anything that you'd like to ask us? Any shout outs you'd like to do? This is your chance.
You go first, Carl. Go on.
Sort of. I mean, it's a question I always ask people in sort of any sort of thing, but like, where do you boys want to see like sort of amateur Call of Duty in the next sort of, I don't know, 3-5 years? Like, where would you be happy with Call of Duty in 3 to 5 years?
I think having an open system, like, is number one. Like, number two's got to be the ability for players, organisations, support staff, all to be able to make a reasonable living. Like, I don't think we'd be able to get to the point where everyone can happily sit there on like really good money, but having the ability to be able to like survive off playing Call of Duty without having to go to work for 10, 12 hours a day, come home, scrim for 6 hours, go to sleep, and then repeat. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's sustainable. I think sustainability is a big thing for me. There we go. Summed it up in one.
I don't think I can beat that, to be honest. So we'll go over to you, Buff, mate.
I don't have any question. I just want to say, like, just a quick one. Like, shout out to all of the, amateur or professional orgs that are the reason that keep this, hobby going for us. All the, like us, amateur organisation, all these owners that are putting in, that are working 9 to 5 jobs, but are putting in their money into other players, and making opportunities for other people. Without those orgs doing what they do, we wouldn't have anything. We wouldn't have a hobby to, come home to, or waste our spare time doing, or anything like that. So it's what those org owners do is a blessing in disguise, really. So all credit to every org owner out there, big or small, because you are part of the reason we're still going, regardless of if we're getting shafted by the top or not. It's we're keeping ourselves going. So all credit to you guys.
Unsung heroes of the scene.
Yeah, we really are.
Absolutely.
Pat on the back.
Love it, love it. Well, thank you very much, gents. It's been an absolute pleasure, and looking forward to seeing all that you do in the year and the years coming.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Love it.